wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. Bottom of my heart.
Thank you very much. Toby has welcomed us with Merry Christmas. We say Merry Christmas to you to this special edition of Seriously Speaking. It's called Seriously Speaking Extra. Every year we decide to remember those who most of us walk past on the street if we see them, or some people lock them away in their homes, those who are with special needs, disabilities, and then people from orphanages. So this year again, we're having this party for them, but we figured that whether Seriously Speaking is live on any channel, anywhere in the world, doesn't matter. We can be live on the internet, which we are now, sharing the message of love, hope, and joy, and remembering that there's more to life than yourself. On the edition of the show, we're going to be recognizing one person who has made our eyes open a little bit more to the issues of disabilities in this country. I'll be right back in a short while if you don't go away. Clap for me. Yes, as I come back, I don't want to forget to thank those who have supported this activity. So I'm going to wear my glasses so I can see better. We have the orphanages that are with us today in the studios. Christ, the Light of Hope Orphanage in Akute, represented by Pastor Omotayo Samuel Atunde. We have Mo Rainbow in the house. We have the Atunda Olu School for the physically and mentally challenged. We have AVM Femi Badebo. We also have Dotimi Ports here, represented by Tina Okonkwo. I have a friend who refuses to be named, but who continuously supports us on this show and for this particular program. And of course, Femi Ayeni of Ultima Studios. All the staff have contributed their time to ensure that we record this. So I must say thank you to Ultima as well, and Universal Communications and more. As I say welcome, this is my friend and sister. Her name is Yinka Akindayomi. I would like all of you to give her a round of applause, please. And I'll explain why. Beyond the fact that, yes, I am aware that disability exists. When we decided to shoot this, Femi himself said, look, we must recognize people and people who have brought the consciousness of disability to Nigerians. And he says, find Yinka Akindayomi. Her children are on vacation right now, but we still shot this because they are our biggest clients, our biggest friends, including all of these people here. So, but here is Dr. Yinka Akindayomi. I'm so glad that you made it.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. Even with all that. But you know, but when people told you that you glamorized, but before we continue with Yinka, I have sitting with me here as well, AVM Badebo, who I've thanked already. AVM Badebo represents the Cerebral Palsy Group, and he's also an interesting story. And then, of course, we have Tina of Dotimi Ports here present with us. I want to introduce you guys so that when they see the whole audience, they'll understand why you're here. But first, Yinka, when they say you glamorized disability, how do you feel when you hear that?
For me, I think that's the greatest achievement of my life, because if I hadn't done that, then what else will I say is my legacy? So even if I don't do anything else, and they say, well, when Dr. Akindayomi came along, she glamorized disability, then I think that is a very big achievement, especially in a country that is very hostile towards people with disabilities, doesn't acknowledge the gifts that people with disabilities bring. And also they don't recognize the fact that the families that struggle with their children day in and day out, on top of everything else that Nigeria has to deal with and go through, that we exist. And the good thing is that, like
Femi.
AVM, as we all call him, not Femi, we're not going away. I remember when I first started, people were thinking that, oh, she'll soon get tired, she'll burn out, she's a British citizen, she'll go back and all the rest of it. But the proud thing is that after 22 years plus, I'm still here pushing the barrier, still standing, still nurturing the idea that people with disabilities are a part of the society and have to be acknowledged and valued as such. So here I am.
Well, that sounds like a manifesto. I don't know why you don't run for public office. But however, maybe somebody that actually should run for public office is AVM. AVM is such a great and smooth talker.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you speak, he speaks, and people listen. I know a big man like you. But you see, what I find interesting, just like with Yinka, his son was the push that started the whole thing. Right? And just Google Yinka Akindayomi, you will see the story there. You know, and CDC. With you two, was a function of your child that made you come out and begin to do this. Did you ever feel ashamed at any point in time?
Absolutely not. It never crossed my mind. You see, these children, if you really look in their eyes, you'll be amazed. You will see God. You will see love. And you will see...
Pure love. That
pure love, unadulterated love. And once you do that, you don't see the disability. You actually begin to marvel at whatever little they can do, even if it's just to smile or respond to whatever you say. And so for me and my wife, it's been from day one. Like my wife says, you see me within 5 minutes, you know about my son.
because you don't hide it.
You don't hide it.
So now, you know what, when I brought you in, I said politics.
Yeah.
Till today, if Yinka has been making this noise for such a long time, the good thing about it is there are many other people who are doing the same thing. People are coming out talking about one disability or the other. But now, I wonder how political action can make that difference. You see a day where, for example, somebody who's visually impaired or somebody who's physically challenged gets an office in this country.
Oh yes, we're getting there, but it must not be tokenism. It must be someone who has really reason to understand what the issues are. And what I mean here is that you can be visually impaired, but you see, because there are very many skills. People talk about autism being a spectrum. Everything is a spectrum. So that person you're talking about can only see this problem from their own perspective.
Yeah.
And until they go beyond that to say, let me see how other families and other individuals are feeling, they will not be able to present a rounded picture of the problem. So in essence, what I'm saying is that being physically impaired does not make you a disability advocate. You must learn about disability and you must learn the issues before you can now be able to. Otherwise, it's just about, I need help, I need help. So we need to work with these people. And the reason why nothing is happening in politics is, like she said, there's stigma and there's a lot of refusal on our parts to accept the reality. So we think there's something wrong with me if my child is not okay. And that's not the issue. So we must get to that stage where everybody, and I'll tell you, church leaders, top politicians, I don't want to mention names, but believe me, everybody, just like you said when we started, is either living with a disability or has a child or a sibling who has a disability. But because they do not realize the beauty of this thing, they are refusing to come out.
They're insular. So I'll take a break, and when I come back, I'll bring in Tina, one of our supporters on this show, and the rest of the crowd. We'll be back. Welcome back. We're still in the studios, and it's fun, but oftentimes it's trying to educate you. But however, the next guest I'm going to bring on is Tina Okonkwo, and she's always, I don't know why you do this, but you raise money somehow to feed these children. You came to me and said, look, let's feed children less privileged. What pushes you?
Like I said in our first shoot, I grew up in a home that there's no love. Oh. But it's not that we are disabled, but there's just no love.
Imagine, you are in a family.
Polygamous home. And when I grew up, I came to Lagos, I found out that I started by loving myself. I met people like Auntie Adesuwa that loved me. And I looked beyond the abled people. And I saw that these children are suffering. People are not taking care of them. People don't love them as it should be. So I told her, for years I was disturbing her, that I want to feed these children for Christmas, every Christmas. It's not a one-year-off thing. I want to be doing it every year. And she said, okay. Then she managed to give me a slot 2 years ago. And that's how it started.
So for you, so just keep doing this.
Just to do it.
Well, you know, you begin to get a sense of what disability is, because now you have a problem with your eye. What was it like? Well, you know, she had a cataract and said this one, now, wow. You know what I mean? You begin to get a sense of, and you fell once and broke your arm.
Yes.
And you couldn't have access to places.
Yeah. Not really. I don't think I'm disabled.
We can't see disability. It's hidden. So, but Ayinka, what bothers you the most about all of these things is that we are beginning to pigeonhole disability into some popular disabilities.
Okay.
Nigeria now, when you talk about autism, many fingers are raised. That so many people walking around it. People forget, even cerebral palsy is quite popular now. But there's a whole spectrum, like you said. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, if I go by what AVM said, I think we need to take this disability space to the next level, since that's the most popular saying now, the next level. And what I mean by saying the next level is that we have a Disability Act that has been on the government's table, if that's the right way to say it, for over 10 years and has not been passed. Now, in that bill, there would be so many things that will come to light to protect people with disability and any sort of disability. It doesn't have to be a specific type of disability. Once you have a disability, then you are protected. You know, for when I first started, as you said, my son, who is here today,
Hello, very good-looking young man.
It was about autism, and everybody wanted to know about autism in the early 90s. But then, as a medical doctor, a community pediatrician, I decided that it wasn't just about my son and his autism. What it was about was that we didn't have any foundation for people with disabilities. So whether you had hearing impairment, whether you had visual impairment, whether you had intellectual disabilities or cerebral palsy, it's about all of us being protected. But I guess some
What kind of
voices...
protection are we talking about? Let's give examples.
The United Nations has made a declaration that all people with disabilities have rights. So whether it is right to health, education, social welfare, leisure, whatever it is, we have the same rights as those that don't have disabilities. But yet, people with disabilities are still cornered and pushed to the side.